most amazing Mediaman fans. This is the Mediaman, and we're just a couple days away from the Sony E3. It is Monday at 6, I believe. You can check my facts if you want. Just Google E3 2018 and you get the whole schedule. But I'm pretty sure that Sony's is on Monday at 6. I know Microsoft is tomorrow at 10 a.m. and then Tuesday is the Treehouse. Nintendo rounding off the big three. So I want to talk about Sony. They've had, the last few years they've had really good E3s. Last year wasn't quite as exciting, and some people even say Microsoft's was better. I would argue that, but that's of course looking back, because Sea of Thieves and State of Decay 2 wasn't as great as we had hoped. But we'll talk about that and the wrap up. But Sony has said that they're going to focus on 4 games, which is funny because they've already had some other announcements and some other rumors about what they're going to talk about. But let's talk about the 4 games real quick. Last of Us 2, the sequel to just a phenomenal game, both on PS3 and PS4. Now, if you have both, get the PS4 version. It's definitely worth the extra few dollars, whatever it costs nowadays. I don't think it's much anymore. But just because the loading times were better, the textures were better, it was a lot cleaner, it's smoother, it's a more powerful console, and they did right by it, so it really felt like it was more made for that console. But it's either way a phenomenal game. If you just have a PS3, you still want to pick it up if you haven't played it. I think Last of Us 2 is just going to be PS4. I'm pretty sure, but it looks phenomenal. I've seen a lot of videos of it. Just look it up. I don't want to give a lot away. If you're one of those people who don't want to know anything about it until it comes out, I'm not going to be that guy that tells you too much just because the story's so deep. But it looks really phenomenal. The first one is one of the few games that really, really made me just emotional. There were some great emotional moments in it, and you really felt for the characters, and you love the characters, and I'm excited to go back to that universe and see what they do with Last of Us 2. Spider-Man, which I believe has a release date of September 7th. It looks really cool. I have a few concerns, but it's more because I don't like QuickTime events. And when I saw the E3 trailer last year, there looked like there was a lot of QuickTime stuff. Now, I did love Until Dawn, one of my favorite horror games ever, and that was pretty much all QuickTime events. But there was a lot of forgiveness. It wasn't super complicated. Like if you missed, if your timing wasn't 100% perfect, sometimes it changed the gameplay a little bit, but you didn't get a game over screen, and that's when it drives me crazy. So if Spider-Man doesn't do that, if it has QuickTime events, and if you miss, you have to do something else, that's cool. But that's just a personal thing. I'm kind of tired of the whole QuickTime event stuff. But it doesn't mean it won't be a great game, and it's in good hands, so that's kind of exciting. Death Stranding looks interesting. I've seen a lot of videos on it, but I'm still not 100% sure what it is, and I don't think I'm the only one. But, it is Kojima, who is brilliant. Konami really, really messed up when they let him go. If you don't believe me, play the newest Metal Gear, not Phantom Pain, the one after that. I didn't even pick it up, so they just blew it. So I really want to see just Kojima hit it out of the park with this one. It looks really good, so we'll see. Hopefully we'll see some more gameplay, some actual gameplay. We really haven't seen any gameplay. The videos were interesting. They definitely, kept me engaged, and I want to know more about it. But it looks kind of creepy-ish. But again, I don't know a whole lot about it. I don't know what kind of game it's going to be, except that it's Kojima, and he always seems to do well with whatever he puts his hands on. So, Ghost of Tsushima, that was the biggest surprise last year. And hopefully I'm saying it right, but just looked really good. Almost looked like Onimusha. I don't know if you guys remember that game on PS2. A brilliant series, really, really fun, and it reminds me of that, which would be great if it was actually in that universe, and that's what we're looking at. So we'll kind of see. I am looking forward to those, but I do hope Sony brings more than that. I do think they will. I think that they'll bring out the third-party stuff. I think we'll see some Final Fantasy VII stuff with both them and Microsoft, even though there's rumor that it's just going to be a Microsoft exclusive. Again, I don't really believe that, but I guess we'll see tomorrow. But either way, I think they'll come out with a lot of stuff, a lot of niche titles, a lot of indie games. They seem to love their indie developers, which they should, because you get some really brilliant stuff through these indie developers and stuff. As you guys know, I'm a big fan of the 5-man team that comes out with just some amazing, gorgeous looking games that play well and that are stuff that you've never seen before. So I'm pretty excited to see what they're going to do with the indie stuff. I do believe they'll touch on some virtual reality. I'm not super excited about it. I mean, I kind of want a VR machine myself because I have used them. I got to try them at TwitchCon, and it is a lot of fun. You can really get involved in it, stuff like that. But not having one, and it's not really saturated the market. I hope they don't focus too much on VR. I don't think they will. I think that they really are going to focus on those 4 and then give us a few surprises. The one thing I can say is Sony's E3s are always they're exciting. They come out with an orchestra, they rock out, they do whatever, and they tend to make it fast, and exciting, and hopefully they keep with the focusing on the games and the game montages and stuff. And I think maybe they'll come out with another orchestra or something, but we'll kind of see. But either way, I am interested in seeing what they come up with and what they're going to do with their conference. Even if you don't like Sony, generally they put on a really good show. I think that there's been some rumors. I want to talk about those a little bit. First of all, Borderlands 3. I think that's actually been confirmed, and that is multi-platform, I'm sure. So PC, Xbox One, PS4, and I would love to see a version on Switch, because playing Borderlands on the go would be fantastic. One of my favorite shooters. So that's pretty much a confirmed, but not 100% confirmed. At least I don't think. I don't know. I could be wrong, and I apologize. But I'm sure we'll see it. The other game that would be a pretty big one for them to announce is Bloodborne 2. Rumor has it that they're going to announce that at E3 on Monday. I'm sorry. And I'm pretty excited about it. I love the Dark Souls series, and it's brutal. The Bloodborne wasn't quite as hard as Dark Souls, any of them. But it was still hard. You still died a lot. And it was set in London. It was a very interesting game. It wasn't, as medieval as Dark Souls. But I'd love to see another one. Love to see them put Bloodborne 2. And I'm sure that's going to happen. I'm pretty sure that we're going to see that. The other game I really want to talk about is Horizon Zero Dawn. I heard they're going to have a second one, announce a second one. The first one did phenomenal for them. I actually was playing that, got God of War, made a video, played more of God of War, and then went back to Horizon Zero Dawn. That's how much I love that game. And if they make a second one, it's a great universe. I would love to see it. I don't know, even if it's more of the same, I'd be okay with that, because more of the same is...
Hopefully that happens. And also Days Gone, we're going to see more gameplay, I believe. I did see someone got their hands on it somehow, and they played for about a half an hour. And it looked really good. It's looking better and better. So I'm really, really interested in seeing that. Of course, Square, I'm sure, will announce some things. Apparently, they have some stuff up their sleeve. I believe we'll see some Final Fantasy stuff, even though there's rumor that Final Fantasy VII Remastered is just going to be on Xbox. I don't believe it for one. Square's been with Sony for a long time. They seem to have this great relationship. And yes, I think we'll see remastered Final Fantasy remastered on other consoles, like maybe on the Switch, at least a version of it, and possibly on the PC, but definitely on Xbox and PS4. So, but I'd love to see what else. Maybe they'll show some more Kingdom Hearts with some extra characters and stuff like that. I think either way it's going to be really fast and really exciting. It's just at the end of it, what are they actually going to announce? Who knows? Sony tends to try to have surprises up their sleeves. Maybe we'll get some more Sly Cooper stuff. I had heard rumor about that. I love the Sly Cooper series. Jack and Daxter, who knows? Now I'm just kind of projecting what I want, so we'll see what they do. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about just a couple rumors I had heard, just real fast. I'm not saying that these are 100%, and some of them I think are even stretches, but the one I think that's the farthest out from reality is them diving into handhelds again. Now they did come out and say that they're interested in handhelds. I believe because of the Switch's success, and all the console makers do this, but I've seen more people copy Nintendo, and I remember when Sony announced the Move, which was a lot like the Wiimotes. Actually, it worked better, but it didn't have all the support. But so I wouldn't be super surprised if they came out with a handheld. And I'd have mixed feelings because I do love their games. I would love to play a lot of their stuff on the road. Who knows? Maybe it'll connect to the PS4 somehow, like the Vita did, but better. Because I actually really like the Vita, and I just wish they supported it more. If we got some more Uncharted and some more Sony type of stuff, like another God of War handheld game, it would have been phenomenal. But we'll see. I'm just kind of throwing it out there. I would be surprised if they announced anything about a handheld, but who knows? The other thing is the PS5. Now, there's been rumor that they're not going to say anything at all. There's been rumor that they're going to announce it. I think if we get anything, we get a logo or maybe a mention from one of the presenters that, yes, the PS5 is coming. But not for a couple years, and I'm cool with that. I'm perfectly fine. I'm enjoying, my PC, my Xbox One X, and what the PS4 Pro has to offer. So I'm not in a hurry for new consoles. I feel like this generation really is just starting to kick in. I just want to see some fantastic announcements, and hopefully, there's not too much time spent on bragging, because yes, Sony, we know you're number one right now. And again, I've said this before, to me, Nintendo isn't really competing with Microsoft and Sony. It's its own thing. So they're going to do fine either way. But I really, I get it. Sony's number one when it comes to the big consoles. And that's great. But don't sit on your hands. Keep going. And I don't want to see half an hour, well, it feels like half an hour, but, 10, 15 minutes of, look at our numbers, guess how great we did, blah, blah, blah. We sold millions of God of War or whatever. We know that already. Focus on the games and, let us have another great E3. So I think that Sony's going to come out swinging, and, I think it's going to be really close with Microsoft and Sony. And hopefully Microsoft actually winds up ahead, mainly because they need it, not because I have anything against Sony, because I love both companies. Anyway, thank you for listening to my media rant. If you haven't seen my Microsoft or Nintendo, I'll try to leave the links in the description below. I love you guys. I will see you in the next media rant. Goodbye now.